Hello everybody, Glitch Reaper here, and we have finally reached the last story mode mission of the game. So, yeah, when it comes to Magic Duels, this is the last one that has like a set mission. Otherwise, there'll be other things you can do with it, but it's the last one that's really structured, and the last one that has plot for that matter. And it's time to go into it and give this one its proper send-off with the Trial of Zeal. In the Trial of Zeal, you face the strongest of your fellow initiates in single combat. Few make it this far, and all who do share a single goal. Hazoret, the god of Zeal herself, will recognize the victor as truly worthy. You throw yourself headlong into combat with unhesitating frenzy and resolve, eager to win Hazoret's favor. Now, I gotta admit, this one is super RNG heavy, and often kind of fast-paced. Let's see what we got. Not the... well, could kinda help, but I think I'd rather go with a better hand. That's a whole lot better. Okay. Feeling a lot better with this hand than I was the last one. So, mulligan. It's kind of weird to think about right now, but mulligan and golf... and mulligan and Magic the Gathering. Just think about it. The only two times you ever hear of taking a mulligan is in golf and Magic the Gathering. So MTG and golf. Of course, there's a G in both of those, but I don't think that that's really that much of a coincidence. It's just funny to think of that those are the only two really major things. I think I'm gonna arm that. There we go, so Dragon Skull Summit, thank you. I'd rather not put out my Brawler right now. There's a better situation. I got Dread Wanderer going here. This one is an interesting little card, actually. It's not really that big. It's a 2/1 black... oh boy. Twin Bolt. Okay, they're blasting. Both of us. But, yeah, it has a special ability that's probably going to factor in after a while. But, the thing is, it's just a 2/1 Jackalware for just like 1 point of black, but and it comes into play tapped, which isn't really that good, technically. But it has a special ability that you can resurrect it right to the battlefield, but it only works if you only have like 1 or no cards in your hand. You can only play it on your turn. So it's kind of useful for later in the game, even though it's early to put out. Okay, I just got cut. That's very nice. I can actually play the Grim Strider, but it's a weird, risky play right now. Because I have way too many cards in my hand. Grim Strider actually gets less powerful the more cards you have in your hand. I'd rather not do that. Let's see if I can get this attack through. Thresher Lizard, let's go. That thing also just gets a buff of power and toughness whenever you have 1 or no cards in your hand. But it makes it like suddenly a 4/4. So its special ability is it gets stronger and tougher. Oh crud. This is actually something I might actually be able to beat. Usually... usually this would be a good ground to go for like an instant reset, because it is really strong, but I'm going to toss both of these magma sprays and obliterate it, because Glorybringer is wicked. It's a 4/4 red dragon with flying and haste, and its exert ability allows it to deal 4 points of damage to any non-dragon creature target, so it can just keep wrecking your creatures. Do I want to go for Grim Strider? I'd rather not. I'd rather just keep this one out and draw out their blasts. If I can draw out the Trial of Zeal's attacks on something like this, then whenever I have something better, then they won't be able to use it on them. That's another thing you can do, is you can actually let the classic pawns go first routine work out. where you're purposefully just holding on to your better cards, knowing that they'll probably attack something at some point and get it out of their way. So this is luring. Desert Ceradon. Okay. It's a 6/4 with cycling for 1 red. They're big and tough, but that's basically it. However, the bigger news is that I can now eradicate it with Cut. Because Cut deals 4 points of damage, and only to creatures. I'm perfectly fine with that. I can cast it later with an Aftermath ability. It's pretty nice. And, oh, Trial of Zeal, you put everything you had into using that creature, and I just whacked it away. So, straight up good play. If I can get enough mana in play, there's a strategy you can use with just this 1 card where it complements itself. Battlefield Scavenger. Okay, so they can be exerted whenever you exert any creature, you can discard a card and then draw a card. So they allow you to quickly cycle through your hand. Wait, do I have enough? Oh, I have enough. You have to have a minimum of 6 to pull off this strategy. So let's go with Insult. First, damage can't be prevented this turn, and any source you control that would deal damage deals double that damage instead. I may not have too much on the field, but that's not going to matter, because this thing's going to complement itself in a second here. Time to do Aftermath. Injury. Aftermath. Deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. So, get double blasted. And then get clawed. Okay, Electrify. 4 damage to target creature and an instant, so that one just got zapped. Remember what I said about sometimes luring out stronger attacks? That was one of them. I was kind of waiting, because remember, these missions are usually with completely, always with, utterly constructed decks on both sides. Warfire Javelineer. I don't have a creature out for you to attack. When they come into play, they deal damage equal to the number of instants and sorceries that its controller has in their graveyard. And I obviously didn't have a creature out, and they'll only deal it to creatures, so yeah. See, now would be a good time to play Grimstrider. Because now it's a 5/5 and can thoroughly take care of that. Blood Rage Brawler. Time to play you too, because its special ability is that whenever it comes into play, you have to discard a card. To take care of the fact that it's otherwise very cheap, it's just a 1 and 1 red for a 4/3 creature, which is nice. But basically discarding a card is kind of like an extra cost, so it's still pretty powerful because of that, because a lot of players and the computer will make that sacrifice. So, yeah. Neheb the Worthy. Yeah, I'm playing myself here. Legendary Minotaur Warrior, a red and black, for 1 generic, 1 red, and 1 black. First strike. Other Minotaurs you control have first strike. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Minotaurs you control get +2/+0. And whenever Neheb the Worthy deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card. That each player thing can be a problem, but he's good to use defensively because of first strike anyhow. And now this has first strike, and we are getting wild. I have something else with Aftermath here, but I'd rather bring my Dread Wanderer back into the field. And this is the ability I was talking about with resurrecting himself. For 2 generic and 1 black, you can return him from the graveyard right to the battlefield, but you can only activate it anytime you could otherwise cast a sorcery. And only if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, so 1 or none. Okay, this is just going to be a hilarious amount of damage, so block or die. Get crushed. Well, that one, well, the enemy just got slashed by my Blood Rage Brawler. The Grim Strider just stomps. I mean, ouch. Warfire Javelineer just got stomped flat. I mean, this Grim Strider is nasty. I mean, 6/6, but only if you have nothing else in your hand. But still, that is nasty. Thresher Lizard. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Do I want to do that differently? I mean, it would be nice if I finally ended a story mission with something other than attack with everything. I think it might be the time. Might be the time. Because ribbons, for 2 black plus X, you can cast it as an aftermath spell. Each opponent loses X life. Let me see here. I got 2 black I can work with. 2 red, so X would be 2, and I could just sap them out. I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna finish. As I said, this one's heavily RNG, and it just gave me the instant win when I know that this opposing deck has no counters. So I won with all my creatures standing tall. Nobody is tapped. Finally did that. It's not worth an achievement. It's just something I wanted to do. So thank you, Trial of Zeal, for giving me this particular win. I've been waiting for so long. Your heart swells with pride as you realize that you stand alone on the battlefield. Around you, your fallen friends are pulled away to their ignominious fates. This is the moment you dreamed of during your years of training. You have earned the right to join the worthy. Hazoret's bident pierces your head and chest, and you feel the impure lifeblood of this mortal form rush out. Your vision goes dark as the sleep of death envelops you, and you embrace an afterlife filled with eternal glory. This whole time, the trials have been about choosing those to go on to a worthy afterlife. Or at least that's what they were told. But that's not the whole story. The thing is, those horns in there, that gate that looks like a giant set of horns, that is a giant set of horns. Because that's the mark of Nicol Bolas. He's been behind this whole thing. He is the God Pharaoh. And he has been using this whole incident to prepare an undead army. He doesn't care where the souls go. Like, they can go into an afterlife that's good for all he cares. He just wants, like, people who have trained their bodies well. So he's like, yeah, I just want zombies, like, and mummies and other undead. I'm not worried about where their soul goes. So whether their soul goes on to a good afterlife or not, or comes back to haunt their body in service of their god pharaoh, either way, the big reward of this whole thing is a worthy death. I mean, that's something that you gotta ponder there. Even the Klingons, I don't think, would go that far, but here in Amonkhet, that's what they train for, is a grand afterlife, and then they just leave their body behind. So this guy just got sent to the afterlife by a goddess with a rather enormous bident, which is basically like a trident, but only with 2 prongs rather than 3. So, in case you're wondering about that name, that's how that goes. But for now, that's the end of this story, and a little bit of insight as to why this is happening. Why the fact that they've been kind of suckered into this, and what they're going through, even without realizing that their whole afterlife ideal has been kind of usurped by one of the most powerful planeswalkers of all time. That's what Hazoret was trying to kind of prepare for, is the return of his master. And that's what all these initiates have been kind of going towards, even if they don't realize they're going towards someone's sinister master plan. Again, they might get a worthy afterlife, they may not. We don't know. But we know that they're coming back as slightly undead, or okay, very undead, like super undead. Some are like absurdly undead, but you get the idea. for now, I can just log off after this bit of extra insight at the end of this. And bid you all kind of farewell in terms of story mission. So hope to hear from you all later. Bye for now, everybody, and remember, Friday Night Magic.